What I don't like about what's going on is I just view this as, well, let's watch the Democratic Party commit suicide.
CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp, was on CNBC and had some fantastic takes about why the left is basically going completely off base. Palantir is a technology company, a very important one in the defense sector. I'll leave it at that. Here we go.
And what you've been taught in college, that you basically should have no beliefs, that the West is inferior, that the intellectual tradition of the West, it leads to self-flagellation and losing on the battlefield, losing intellectually, losing your party, losing your country, losing your border, that your institutions can't work because we're so good. It's actually wrong. And the West was actually never about that. And you can be good, decent, and win, and be intellectually correct.
Okay, so I'm just going to keep hopping around to my favorite parts. Plus, I'm going to do the weave and put some of my own clips in there. But here he's talking about the craziness on college campuses.
And how do you prevent what we had? Essentially, we had a pagan religion that has infiltrated our universities. And that pagan religion basically says everything that's good about America, everything that actually works, is ipso facto bad.
Showing us that when they teach, they only teach one direction. Instead of telling them to love the country you live in.
Do you think teaching kids to love the country that they live in is another form of indoctrination, though?
Why would you not want your citizens to love the place you live in? That's like saying, I hate my house. Why would I not want to love the house I live in?
And by the way, you can't talk about it not working because it's a religion. So it's not even, and it's a new religion. It's not an old great religion, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. It's a new religion, and the tenets are West is bad, nothing can work. If it works, it's bad, and the West is, and that way of thinking has corroded every aspect of our society.
And Gen Z, 16%. You're talking teenagers and 20-something-year-olds who are abundantly not proud to live in the United States.
Last not least, it leads to a situation where you get a complete corrosion of all institutions and to a legitimacy crisis.
Okay, here they talk about a recent rise in some right-wing parties in Germany.
I don't believe in discrimination across any variable, but you are being turned into a product by a certain small sector of the left because you're not allowed to talk about facts. Like in the last couple of weeks, every week there's what happens in Germany is there's a terror attack in the morning and the Greens and the left protest the far right in the afternoon. This is literally what's happening. And the average German, I know so many Germans who would never even use the term Alternative für Deutschland 4 weeks ago that are telling me like, yeah, screw it, I'm going to vote for them. And the reason why is it's our responsibility. And you see this, by the way. Why is the Democratic Party committing suicide? It's because
in the U.S. you're talking about.
In the U.S. It's the same thing. It's like we're not allowed to admit, we're not allowed to do true false. Like, okay, I agree with this person, I don't agree with this person. We literally have to say anything that's ever been uttered from this person in the whole timeline has to be wrong, including border, defense, and this is happening in every Western country. And again, it's very similar to the question you asked. Okay, we know why they do it. The Greens and others.
He's so correct about that. That's pretty much the theme of the second part of this video. It's just the left. You can't think if you're on the left. You have to go with the program. I have no clue what the left stands for right now.
Today is the first step of a long and difficult journey, but an important one. And President Trump is committed to bringing an end to this conflict.
What I would say is, first of all, you put up people on the screen who are very talented. So if I look at this from an entrepreneurial perspective, the first thing I'm looking at is, okay, those three people are very talented. The second thing, I'll tell you something I think Trump does very, very well. He says, I'm not going to accept a paradigm that essentially leads to a stupid conclusion. And he's like, okay, great. I'm going to give you a new paradigm. You don't like that, my paradigm? Give me another one. And I think honestly, I think he's quite brilliant at this. So what I see is, he's like,
Trump is the best at that in the world by far. Great point.
I'm not accepting a paradigm where America just keeps financing things. There's no real discussion. I'm sending three of the most talented people there. Let's figure it out.
Okay, here now he's talking about DOGE.
What I don't like about what's going on is I just view this as, well, let's watch the Democratic Party commit suicide. And like, I've been a Democrat most of my life. I kind of view myself as outside it, but I don't like watching the Democrats just commit suicide. And what I see is most of the country doesn't really, at this point, given the fraud, waste, and abuse we know is there, 90% of the country is like, get rid of that fraud, waste, and abuse. And I just view this as yet another example of the progressive left boxing themselves into a suicide dance. Now, what the progressive left should be doing is saying, okay, Elon, you're clearly the most qualified person in the world to do something like this. We want to dialogue with you about how you're doing and what are you doing. I don't believe that's actually what happened. And again, I like Elon. I know I think he's obviously the most important builder in the world. And I just think, if you want to say my former side, I don't believe that they're actually engaging. I think
they do this on every issue, it seems like lately. As a content creator, it's funny because you get Trump derangement syndrome, but it's not that interesting, whether it be COVID. Lately on like the Russia-Ukraine thing, what is the Democratic plan? If you're the Republicans and you're Trump, most people can tell you what they stand for. Secure the border, tax cuts, end all the wars. Like the Republican and Trump slogan, make America great again. What's the Democratic slogan right now? It would literally just be like, don't touch anything, or just trust us, just listen to us. Again, like this is kind of the Democratic stance on Russia, Ukraine. It's not clear at all what they actually want.
The Democrats aren't outraged by President Zelensky. They're mad at President Trump.
If Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Putin believe that they're going to intimidate and bully and threaten President Zelensky to join the club of corrupt and unprincipled leaders, they will literally need to wait until hell freezes over twice, because this is a man who is committed to the survival of his country.
The propaganda is what's coming out of J.D. Vance's mouth, and it's Russian propaganda.
I saw the meeting as a despicable display of bullying by the president.
It was Vice President Vance, particularly, who was on the offense, who was berating President Zelensky.
It is absolutely shameful what is happening right now. The White House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
I just have never felt such shame about American policy before, and I don't know how our allies trust us after this.
Putin and his cronies are probably popping champagne bottles right now.
We have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States.
It's like another dance where I'm supposed to say, of course, like whatever. It's like there's this one issue where I might, and then you get boxed into you cannot solve the problem. And then I would say, what is the biggest problem in this society? Biggest problem in this society from my perspective is legitimacy of our institutions. Why aren't they legitimate? They're not legitimate because, okay, do any of you really believe that 99% of your taxpayer dollars are being spent? Wait.
He's totally correct. Like the Democratic Party really, in my opinion, stands like for nothing. If you just ask some random person on the street, don't mention Trump, what do the Democrats stand for? Just like listening to the television, just taking orders. That's like literally what I think, because I wish there was a better debate between left and right. It seems like all the intellectual debate occurs on the right side. A recent example of this was the H-1B visa debate. Trump and Elon Musk, or Elon Musk at least, had this take. Same with Vivek Ramaswamy. So many people in MAGA disagreed with it. That's way more healthy. The left just, it's so disappointing. Anyway, with that said, I'll finish the video, but thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great day.